Hello friends, my name is Jigar Kumar Madhusudan Bhatt. Today I am going to share my thoughts and my views on chapter number 1, 2 and 3 of the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. The name of first chapter, first adhyay is Arjun Vishad Yog. The name of second chapter is Sankhya Yog and name of the third chapter is Karma Yog. Let us begin with the chapter number 1, that is Arjun Vishad Yog. It is also known as the distress of Arjun, the war within Arjuna's mind. The Bhagavad Gita is opened by setting the stage for Kurukshetra battlefield. Two massive armies representing different loyalties and ideologies face a catastrophic war. With Arjuna is Krishna not as a participant in war but only as his charioteer and his counsel. Arjuna requests Krishna to move the chariot between the two armies so that he can view both sides and the people who are eager for war. He sees his family, friends on the enemy side. Arjuna is distressed and in sorrow. The issue is not morally proper to kill. This and other moral dilemmas in this first chapter are set in a context where the Hindu epic Krishna have already extolled ahimsa, non-violence, to be the highest and divine virtue of human being. The war feels evil to Arjuna and he questions the morality of war. He wonders if it is noble to renounce and love before the violence starts, or should he fight, and why? There are many people gathered on the enemy side like cousins, teachers and elders. Arjuna did not want to kill them in order to win and finally rule the people. So he asked Krishna morality of war, whether he should involve himself in the war and get killed by his cousins. This is the end of the chapter 1 or Adhyay 1. Now let us begin chapter 2 or second chapter, that is Sankhya Yoga. It is also known as the book of doctrines, self-realization or yoga of the knowledge and philosophy. The second chapter begins the philosophical discussions and teachings found in Gita. The warrior Arjuna, whose past had focused on learning the skills of his profession, now faces a war he has doubts about. Filled with introspection and questions about the meaning and purpose of life, he asks Krishna about the nature of life, self, death, afterlife, and whether there is a deeper meaning and reality. Krishna answers. The chapter summarizes the Hindu idea of rebirth, samsara, eternal self in each person or self, universal self present in everyone, various types of yoga, divinity within, the nature of self knowledge, and other concepts. The ideas and concepts in the second chapter reflect the framework of the Sankhya and Yoga schools of Hindu philosophy. This chapter is an overview for the remaining 16 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Mahatma Gandhi memorized the last 19 verses of the second chapter, considering them as his companion in his non-violent movement for social justice during the colonial rule. Arjuna was worried about those people. Arjuna was worried about those people about whom he should not feel worried about. Krishna told Arjuna that who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Krishna added that was never was a time when I did not exist, nor you nor all these kings, nor in the future nor in the future shall any one of us cease to be. Krishna further explains that soul is indestructible and imperishable. Krishna further explained that as a person puts on new garments and giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Moreover, Krishna adds that the soul can never be cut to pieces by weapons, not burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind. That if, however, you do not this relig- perform withered by the wind, Krishna told Arjuna that if, however, you do not perform this religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins. So, for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Now, this is the end of chapter 2 or Adhyay 2. Now, let us begin Adhyay 3, and that is Karma Yoga. The name of the Adhyay 3 or chapter 3 is Karma Yoga. It is known as virtue in work, selfless service, or the yoga of action. Arjuna, after listening to Krishna's spiritual teachings in chapter 2, gets some more confounded and returns to the predicament he faces. He wonders he wonders if fighting the war is not so important after all, given Krishna's overview on the pursuit of spiritual wisdom. Krishna replies that there is no way to avoid action, karma, since abstention from work is also an action. Krishna states that Arjuna has no obligation to understand and perform his duty dharma because everything is connected by the law of cause and effect. Every man and or woman is bound by activity. Those who act selflessly create the karmic cause and are thereby bound to the effect which may be good or bad. Those who act selflessly for the right cause and strive to do their dharmic duties to do God's work. Those who act without craving for the fruits are free from the karmic effects because the results never motivated them. Whatever the result, it does not affect them. Their happiness comes from within and the external world does not bother them. This chapter develops a theological response to Arjun's dilemma. Krishna told that Krishna told Arjuna that no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. If one does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sins. Living only for the satisfaction of senses, such a person lives in vain. Whatever action a great man performs, Common men follow. It is better to discharge your duties faultily than to do others' duties perfectly. At last, Krishna told Arjuna that be away from lust and regulate your senses well. This is all for Adhyay or chapter number 3. I hope that you like these 3 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. There are total 18 chapters in the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Recently, in this episode, I have talked you with about 3 chapters. In the remaining episodes, I will talk you about these remaining chapters well. Okay, please listen to this discourse and like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.